No matter how skilled you are with coloring or shading, if your sketch is not correct, your drawing will not turn out good. Also, if you're one of those people who doesn't want to start drawing because they're struggling with getting a good sketch, stick with me here because I'm going to share with you 5 ways or hacks to get an accurate sketch. Hello guys, my name is Mima, and in today's video I'm going to show you 5 ways on how to get a proper sketch. There are various ways to either copy or create a sketch of your own, so I'm going to share with you both ways of getting a good sketch. Let's dive into the first one. The first one is using the Gridline. Now you can do this both digitally or physically. If you do it digitally, you will need a gridline which you will put on top of your image, and based on the gridline you will do the same grid on your paper. I will upload these grid lines on my Patreon page, so feel free to head to my Patreon where you can download these digital grids for free if you want to use them. They are PNG files, so all you need to do is place them on top of your reference and you're good to go. This will simplify your sketching process so much, as you will be focused more on the sections rather than the image as a whole. So once you start working on your sketch, each square here will have certain shapes, and here you will rather focus on shapes than on the composition as a whole. Again, working in sections like this will simplify your approach and will ease your mind a bit when it comes to your sketching process. When it comes to using it physically, print out the reference that you want to work on, then you can decide then how many sections or squares do you want to separate it. Once you decide and you make the grid lines on your reference, do the same grid line with the same measurements and the same amount of squares to get the best possible results. Once you do that, again, you can work in sections which will allow you to get that similarity between the reference and your sketch as well. Once you get into this method and work like this for a while, you will be able to get a good sketch in no time. Even if certain parts are not exactly the same, remember, we are not copy machines and it doesn't have to be 100% accurate, so don't let this stress you out too much. Another hack when it comes to getting the right proportions is using the tracing paper. Now with this, all you need is a tracing paper, reference photo that you would like to draw, and a blank piece of paper. Here you can trace out your reference by simply going over the most important lines here to get the most accurate sketch. This is one of the simplest methods, and no, it's not cheating, it's just making your sketching process a bit easier. There are shortcuts in every job, so when it comes to us artists, this is one of ours. So we shouldn't be criticized for sometimes finding our own ways of sketching and getting accurate proportions. Sometimes you're not as interested in learning proportions as you are in shading and coloring, which is completely fine. It's not something that will make you any less of an artist, especially nowadays. So use all the hacks you can to get the desired look. Another way of getting accurate proportions is using the daylight. For this, you need to print out the reference photo, get your pencils and blank piece of paper, and head to your window. Getting transparency through the window during the daylight will make your work so easy. Of course, you can tape the paper to the reference photo to make the process a bit easier, so the paper could stay fixed while you are tracing out the lines, just so it doesn't move, and like this you will get the sketch that you want. You can trace out basic lines and then work with some more on the details. Once you're finished with tracing, you will have a very good base, and then all you need to do is just focus on certain details to improve your sketch. That's pretty much it. Now the next method is something that you can use if you're really interested in actually learning about measurements and proportions. So here, get your reference photo ready and blank piece of paper and just start sketching. No measurements at first. Start with just basic shapes and forms. Once you do this, start measuring and comparing different proportions. For example, how many times this piece goes into the other one, the space between this part and this one. This is a method where you will constantly have to compare different heights, lengths in order to get a good proportions. For this, it takes a bit of time, but it's a very useful technique if you want to practice your eyes to draw what they actually see. It's something that I did a lot during my college, and while preparing for it, all I did was just going around measuring and comparing everything that I was seeing. So even if you play just the usual glass with an orange next to it, you will have to measure both width, height, and compare it to one another to get the best possible outcome. Also, while measuring, you need to make sure to pay attention here to the negative space, because the negative spaces can also be considered as shapes and can be used to compare and measure. Also, allow yourself to relax your hand enough to create some bold lines, as these lines in the beginning are just our guidance, where, as we all know, everything can be erased and you will have to go through sketching and erasing here until you get the good proportions. Don't use your lines straight away to just pull them and that's it. It has to stay there as it's already there. But allow yourself to explore and make mistakes, as this will lead you to much greater understanding of how this technique actually works. And the last method is not something that is the greatest, but it's something to use when you don't know anymore how to get your sketch right. For this method, quite a few people will tell me that I'm insane, maybe, for sharing this way of sketching, but it is what it is. So, as we need sunlight for the window method that I just spoke about, for this method we need darkness. So turn off the lights, make the room as dark as possible if you are doing this during the day. If you are doing this during the night, even better. Set up your laptop screen on or the monitor to the brightest point. Turn on your reference photo and place the paper onto the monitor or whatever screen you have and start tracing. I know it's not the best and the greatest thing, but in my defense, I know a lot of people and beginner artists use this method before, and that was one of the easiest ways to get the sketch so they can practice blending and coloring. Just make sure to use a bit thicker paper and not too sharp pencils, also not to press your pencil too hard so don't damage the screen. And that's all that's important here. So this would be about it when it comes to getting accurate sketches. Remember, some of the methods are considered to be cheating, from other people, which for me, to be honest, is completely wrong. As I said, in every job you have some cheat sheets, workaround, shortcuts, so I don't know why everyone expects that we artists don't have one. Some of these are one of them, but to be honest, who cares? As long as you're having fun, as long as you make yourself less stressful, more creative, explore and experiment as much as possible, ease your mind and find the best possible way to be happy, for me, that's all that matters. So no matter what other people say, find the method that you like the most, stick with it and enjoy while creating. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, check out my membership section here on YouTube, or join my Patreon page, like this video and share it with people so we can reach many beginner artists and people who would like to draw. Thank you so much for watching this video and I see you in another one. Thank you guys. Bye.